G'day, g'day, how you going? What do you know? Don't strike a light. G'day, g'day, and how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
Now we come to the portion of the service before we do our Bible study that we address some end times news and trends that are happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. And as we talk about end times, please understand what end times means as well. We talk about signs of the times, but end times is really a general term that embraces a broad spectrum of events that will take place in the last days. That includes the lead up to the rapture, which is the time that we're living in right now. It includes the rapture. It includes the judgment seat of Christ and the marriage supper of the Lamb, which takes place during the 7-year tribulation period, as the Bible talks about. And then you have the tribulation period where it's just reigning the wrath of God and chaos during that 7-year period. And that also includes the emergence of the Antichrist and the battle of Armageddon. And that at the end of the 7-year tribulation period, you have the second coming of Christ, where we come back down with Christ. And we rule and reign with Christ for 1,000 years, millennial reign. And at the end of that period of time, talks about the great white throne judgment for the non-believers. So Christians are judged at the Bema seat, and what we've done for Christ, and the being faithful in those things that He's called us to. But the great white throne is those who have rejected Christ, and they're destined for hell with the wicked. But right now, the number one issue that we're focusing on or seeing what's taken place is you got to focus on what's happening in Israel and the Temple Mount and the surrounding nations that are wanting to attack Israel. Just this past week, there was an interesting article out of Israel Today that talks about Israelis' march demanding access to the Temple Mount and build the third temple. So they're pushing this extremely hard in the last several weeks and months. On Monday marked the beginning of a Jewish fast of which was commemorating the destruction of the first and second temple. Thousands of Israelis participated in the annual march around the walls of Jerusalem's Old City with a special focus on the Temple Mount. And it is, again, Jerusalem's or Judaism's holiest site, but Jews are not allowed to go to the Temple Mount because of the violence of the Muslims. The government officials participating in the march noted that the people of Israel are seeking much more than just the right to pray at the top of the Temple Mount. They want the third temple. That is what they want. According to the deputy defense minister, he said, "Everyone who came here tonight proved with his feet that we want the temple, and quickly." So this is really stepping up the whole game plan of what's happening there in Israel. And again, the issue of the Temple Mount is something, like we said, to pay attention to, the development of the third temple. This has to be in place. It will be finished before the 7-year tribulation halfway through period, because the Antichrist will go into the Temple Mount and desecrate it and demand everyone to worship him. Also concerning the surrounding nations and the development and the buildup of the Ezekiel 38 war, there's an article that came out of the Israeli Times, or Times of Israel, that says that Russia's deploying troops to the Syrian Golan Heights. So they're at the border. Russia will be invading Israel during the Ezekiel 38 war. They're lining up, friends. It's just a matter of time before this unleashes. So they're deploying these troops in the southern Syria near the Israeli border. According to Lebanese-based news channel, Russia's building a military base on the Syrian side of the Golan Heights. The report says that the Syrian army is withdrawing from the area which has been a rebel ground throughout the civil war. So this is one of those pieces of the puzzle. It's getting close to happening, okay? Why is this important? Because, as we said, this is a fulfillment and will be a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. The Bible's been 100% accurate. Even if everyone in the UN and all these other nations say, hey, don't invade Israel, it's going to happen because it's Bible prophecy. So we can't stop it as much as we like to see, war stopped. This will take place. And then finally, one of the signs of the times that Jesus talks about in Matthew 24, where he says there's be wars and rumors of wars, and one of the escalations that we're continuing to see happening in North Korea. They are within 18 months away of building a hydrogen bomb more powerful than the atomic bomb that dropped on Japan, and this report came out of the Fox News. Their number 2 guy right now is in Iran for the next 10 days with his military and his economic officials. They're developing this stuff. They're also in partnership so that Iran will also have the same weaponry as what North Korea is doing. So these are things that we need to just kind of be aware of and what's happening, and it's exciting that we're living in these last days. And we need to get the gospel out there as quickly as possible, and tell as many people about the love and grace and forgiveness of Jesus Christ. And there's, of course, many other things that we can talk about in these updates, but I'm going to pause it there for today. Amen.